Shanti, take a moment to connect with our divine intellect and the light of divine I, which in turn connects the supreme light who is showering us with the whole treasure of divine gifts. Today's Murli is a clear extension of the Murli that we studied yesterday. In yesterday's Murli, Baba spoke about two divine gifts. That's the divine intellect and the divine I. And he told us that he will speak about the divine I sometime later. And today he's with us with his versions via Vikvani. He's taking us through what it means to have a divine I that he's gifted us. This Murli is originally dated 23rd of January 1985. Essence of the Murli is the gift of this elevated birthday is divine eyes. Today, the Trikaldarshi father is looking at his Trikaldarshi and Trinetri children. So let's take a moment and sit in that experience of who I am is Baba's child to whom Baba has given Trinetri, Trinetra, that is the third eye, and who I am is Trikaldarshi and Trinetri child of my Shiv Baba. Bab Dada is looking at the divine intellect and the divine eye, which is also called the third eye. And what is he seeing? He's doing this. So what he is looking at is the divine eye and the divine intellect. And what is he seeing? He's seeing to what extent the eye is clear and powerful, and the percentage of power of the divine eye of each child. Bab Dada is looking at the divine intellect and divine eye, which is also a third eye, to see to what extent the eye is clear and powerful, and the percentage of power of the divine eye of each child. Bab Dada has given all of you 100% powerful divine eye as your birthday gift. Baba did not give a number-wise powerful eye, but all of you children are using this divine eye practically according to your own rules, your own precautions, and according to how much attention you pay to it. This is why the power of some people's divine eye is completely powerful, whereas for others, the power of the divine eye is to a percentage. You have received this third eye, the divine eye from Bab Dada. Just as nowadays, the invention of science, binoculars enables you to experience something at a distance, to be close and clear. In the same way, the divine eye works like divine binoculars. In a second, you can reach the supreme abode, which is so far away. You cannot count how many miles away it is, but it is very closely and clearly visible. The inventions of science only enables you to see as far as the sun, moon, and stars of the corporeal world. But this divine eye is able to see the three worlds and the three aspects of time. This divine eye is also called the eye of experience. It is the eye of experience with which you can see everything of 5,000 years as clearly as though it is a matter of yesterday. There is a vast difference between 5,000 years and yesterday. So you can see things far away closely and clearly, can you not? You can experience that. Yesterday you were a worthy of worship deity soul, and that you will become that again tomorrow. Today you are a Brahmin, and tomorrow you will be a deity. So, the matter of today and tomorrow is easy, is it not? Children with a powerful eye constantly continue to see clearly their beautifully decorated double crowned form in front of them. Just as you can see a fashionable dress in front of you, and you feel that you are just about to put it on, in the same way, you can also see the costume of your deity body in front of you. Can you not? That is, you are going to wear it tomorrow. You can see it. Can you not? Is it still being prepared, or can you see it already prepared in front of you? You saw how Brahma Baba always kept his future costume of the form of Sri Krishna in front of him. In the same way, are you able to see your costume clearly in front of you with your powerful eyes? One moment you are an angel, and the next moment you change from an angel to a deity. You have the intoxication, and you also have a vision of the practical form of a deity through your divine eye. So, is your eye that powerful? Or has the power to see something become weak? When the power of the physical eyes is weak, then what happens? Then Even something clear seems as though it is behind a curtain or amongst clouds. Baba says, in the same way, you have to become deities. You did become that, but what happened? But you cannot see beyond the curtain of I was like that as to what you were and how you were. Is it clear? The curtain of faith and the bead of remembrance are both powerful, are they not? Or is it that the beads are okay and the curtain is weak? If even one is weak, it won't be clear. So check or have it checked whether the power of your eye is reduced. If you have been following the precautions of Srimad from birth, then your eye is constantly powerful. It is when you lack observing Srimad that power is reduced. Take blessings, medicine, or precautions, whatever you want to call it, once again, and they will become powerful. So, these eyes are the divine binoculars. These eyes are also a powerful instrument through which you can see anyone as they are. You can easily and clearly see the soul conscious form of others and their speciality. You can see the incognito soul present in the body just as you see the physical body with your physical eyes. Can you see the soul that clearly? Or do you see the body with your divine eyes? You can only see the divine and subtle soul, and you will only see the specialities of every soul. Just as your eyes are divine, in the same way, your specialities, that is, your virtues, are also divine. Defects are a weakness. Weak eyesight would only see weaknesses. Just as when your physical eyes are weak, you see dark patches. In the same way, just as when your physical eyes are weak, you see dark patches. In the same way, weak eyesight would see the darkness of weaknesses. Bapdada has not given you weak eyes. He says you yourself have made them weak. In fact, this powerful instrument of the eyes constantly only sees the soul conscious form in a natural way whilst walking and moving around. You do not have to labor to see whether that is a body or a soul. When you wonder, is it this or that? It is a sign of weak eyesight. Scientists are able to see all the germs clearly with the powerful lenses. In the same way, these powerful divine eyes can also very clearly see the extremely subtle form of Maya. Therefore, they do not allow the germs to increase but destroy them. They recognize in advance the illness of Maya that anyone has and they destroy it and remain constantly free from disease. Do you have such a powerful divine eye? These divine eyes are also a divine TV. Nowadays, everyone loves to watch TV. Call this a television or a TV center. You can see all your birds of heaven. That is, you can see the divine film of your 21 births. Babas, you're talking about what your divine eye can see and how your divine eye is your divine television. You can see the beautiful scenes of your kingdom. You can see the soul's story of every birth. You can see your crown, throne, and fortune of the kingdom. Call it a divine vision or TV. Is the eye of divine vision powerful? When you are free, then watch this film. Do not look at the dances of nowadays. That is a dangerous dance. Watch the dances of the angels and the deities. Your switch of awareness is fine, is it not? If your switch is not fine, then even if you put on the film, you won't be able to see anything. Do you understand how elevated these eyes are? Nowadays, when things are invented, the majority of them are designed to be multi purpose. In the same way, this divine eye can perform many tasks successfully. Sometimes Babdada hears the complaints of the weaknesses of the children and he says, you have received a divine intellect and a divine eye. Always continue to use them in the right way, and you won't have time to think about anything or to see anything. You won't think about anything else or see anything else. So there cannot be any complaints. Thinking and seeing are the special basis of becoming complete and of complaining. While seeing and hearing everything, always think in a divine way. As are your thoughts, so is your doing. Therefore, constantly keep both these divine attainments with you. This is easy, is it not? You are powerful, but what do you become? When establishment took place, you little children used to have short dialogues about Bhola Bhai, the innocent brother. So you are powerful, but you become innocent. So do not become so innocent. Always remain powerful and make others powerful. Do you understand? Acha. Baba is giving blessings to those who constantly use their divine intellect and the divine I, to those who constantly churn knowledge in an elevated way with their divine intellect, to those who remain absorbed in seeing divine scenes through the divine eye, to those who clearly experience their future deity form, to those who experience tomorrow to be as close as today, to such powerful Trinetri and Trikaldarshi children with a divine eye, Bapdada's love, remembrance, and namaste. From us children, love, remembrance, and namaste to Bapdada. Bapdada meeting a group. The method to become an easy yogi. All of you are cooperative souls, are you not? You are constantly merged in the love of all relationships with the Father. The love of all relationships makes everything easy. Where there is a relationship of love, everything is easy, and whatever is easy is constant. So, such easy yogi souls, do you experience all loving relationships with the Father? Are you like Uddhav, a friend of Krishna, or are you like the gopis? Uddhav simply spoke of knowledge, whereas the gopis and the gops begin to experience God's love. So, the speciality is the experience of all relationships. To have the special experience at the confluence age is to receive a blessing. To listen to knowledge and to speak knowledge is a different thing from fulfilling a relationship and to remain constantly lost in love with the power of all relationships. So, may you be constantly cooperative on the basis of having all relationships. Continue to increase this experience. The stage of being absorbed in love is a special stage of the gopis and the gopis. To have love is something different, but to remain absorbed in love is an elevated experience. As per the saying, an elevated stage is beyond the influence of obstacles. You do not ever become influenced by any obstacles to you. To the extent that someone has an elevated stage, accordingly, that one with an elevated stage goes beyond the influence of obstacles. The higher you go, the smaller you will see the obstacles. The elevated is your stage. You will see all obstacles to be like a mustard seed or maybe like a cotton ball. When someone goes into space, he goes up above and goes beyond the influence of the gravity of the earth. In this way, you constantly remain safe from the influence of obstacles. Those who do not stay lost in love experience having to work hard. Therefore, remain lost in the experience of the love of all relationships. There is love, but let it now emerge. When you simply remember Baba at Amrit Vela and then become busy in your work, the love becomes merged. Keep it in an emerged form and you will remain constantly powerful. Om Shanti. Let's take a few moments in silence and reflect on Baba's gift of divine I that we all have, and then we gather back to share our takeaways from Baba's Murli. And mute and share your takeaways.
Shanti Rakiben,
Om Shanti.
eyes of the world, lights of the world. So when he said eyes of the world, I took it to be the divine vision, but it was eyes of the soul, the thinking part. So here Baba just speaks about thinking. He spoke yesterday about thinking and today about seeing. And when Baba started going to the anatomy of the eye, he spoke about the eyes, the eyelids, the pupils. I don't know, I just went to my school days when I used to draw the diagram of the eye. It used to be a round circle and with a hole in the center. I just went back to that diagram. The iris, the center hole in the eye, which they called as the pupil, or the white of the eye, or the retina. I just went down. And I also used to think, are both my eyes the same? Or does one eye do a job and the other eye sleeps off? And about the eyelids, it opens, it closes. And what is that eyelashes above? I don't know. I just went first to the anatomy of the eye because Baba touched upon it over here. They always say the world's best camera is the eye. Human body has got magnificent, like the world's best computer, they say, is the brain. And the world's best pumping machine is the heart. And the world's best camera is the eye. I went back to that thinking. But here, to this eye and to this thinking, if divinity is added, we will see divinity and we will think divinity. But here, when Baba speaks about divine eye, he speaks about experience. Are you able to see what you were and what you are and what you have to become? Vikaldarshi. Then, if suppose your eyes are blurred, it means your eyelids doesn't know how to close, how to open. It doesn't know when it should not see a thing, it should close. When it should see a thing, it should open. That's the faith which he has given. So if the pupil is conscious about it, then your eye vision. I don't know what a kind of optical doctor Baba has given. We know about the divine binocular. We know when Baba says, you want to see the distant, use your divine insight. That's what we do in Amrit Vela. We sit here and we, uh, miles away, scientists only can see sun, miles away, we visualize and bring Paramdam close to us. Or we also make our eyes small and we can see even little germs within us. So he is calling it one more instrument, microscope, or using divine television. I think it's a big thing for an optician if he goes through this Murli to know behind this scientific knowledge of the eye, there is so much divinity, so much divinity. It's a beautiful insight which one gets in the Murli. Om Shanti.
Agree with you, Grijaben, and actually, thank you for taking through the entire anatomy of an eye. And we were talking about optician. I was also looking at the ophthalmology study completely. How an eye doctor would examine the whole eye, and how Baba today, as a divine ophthalmologist, is looking at what is the role of a divine eye. And he is reiterating to us that this is the gift that you have got. And what I was getting connected to while you were sharing and while I was reading this Murli was in so many Murlis, Baba has spoken about your first organ that connects to the world is the way you see things, and everything else follows. So you need to be very much aware every moment of what you're seeing, because it's only after look through your eyes when you see you get the feelings or emotions, or even, for example, I think one of the Murlis recently spoken about while we were reading in the morning only, that whatever you see you feel like eating it, especially when it goes to food. So this whole subject of divine eye is also such a deep subject, and today he's giving us, it's a précis of how you need to operate with your divine eye is what I was getting from today's Murli. Thank you for bringing across that anatomy of eyes.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
You know, during the study of medicine, there is a book called Hutchinson's Manual. That's actually a book that talks about the way patients should be checked. It's a clinical methods manual. And the first opening statement of that book is, what the mind doesn't know, the eyes cannot see. So even if you have a patient with a broken leg, if you do not know what a fracture is, how does it look like, what are the manifestations of it, you would never be able to diagnose if the person is having a fracture. So, what the mind knows is basically the thought, what is behind it. And similarly, unless and until somebody has the knowledge of soulfulness, the eyes would just see the body, it would not see the energy running it. So, Baba mentions that. So you have to see, you have to know the concept of soul to be able to identify and see the other person as soul. Otherwise, it will look blurred and it might be colored by Maya as well. So you would not see the soul in it. So your final destination of being soulful, leaving the body as a soul would go unnoticed or unexperienced. Thank you. Om Shanti.
Yeah, and that part he mentions by, when your eyesight is weak, how do you see the black patches? The last part of your sharing is where I'm connecting to. And that's what Baba says, if your divine eye is weak, then you'll only see weaknesses of others. And only when you are in the divine eye, in the self respect of the gift that has been given by Baba to us of divine I, and we look at the speciality of others, standing in the awareness that each being that I'm looking at is beyond this body. Each one is a powerful soul, is when my divine I is actually working. Otherwise, it is colored by the clouds, or there is a curtain in front of my divine eye. I think I liked that analogy that Baba has brought in today's Murli, where he's very clearly telling what is the role of a divine eye. I could connect to that conversation. And the very first statement you mentioned, only when your mind can manifest what the patient is going through is when you'll be able to diagnose, though you are a specialist in that particular subject, but you need to have the experience of what the, when I say experience, not physical experience, but to look at what the person is going through at that point in time. And that's where the role of a doctor comes, with a lot of compassion. And it's been said so many times that 50% of the patient's illness is cured by the way the doctor treats the patient.
Rakiban, I have a question, a little curious question to Dr. Vinod. See, Baba speaks of the eyelashes, which protects you from dust, and also he spoke of the eyelids, which are, so when he says "देखते हुए भी मत देखो, सुनते हुए भी मत सुनो." See, the eye has got all this. It can close its eyelids, and the eyelashes protect. Do we have anything for the ear lids or ear lashes? I was just putting a curious question to Baba, because even he says "सुनते हुए भी नहीं सुनो." So, will there be another Murli for that? I don't know. But I was just thinking even about that anatomy about it. This देखते हुए भी मत देखो, and you were speaking about not to see things for tempting or eating. Immediately we close our eyes. Okay, eye is God. What about the ear? So I was just putting that curious question to Bab Dada when brother was explaining about some part of the anatomy.
So, may I add my reflection to your question?
Definitely, Rakiben.
So, Bab has given us 2 years, right? And if you look at it in, in, in normal terminology, also we say if you want to have peaceful, when Baba says, Sunti hai bhi mat suno, which means whatever comes in your ears, which is not going to be serving you or the world, remove it from the other ear. Don't put it inside your body or get it set in your mind or in your heart. Maybe that's one reflection to what your question was. Sunte hue bhi mat suno. One way is let it go out from the other ear. See, eyes are together in the front of your face, but ears are not together. You have one ear on the right side, you have the other ear on the left side. There's entire body structure where we can throw it from the other side. Maybe, Vinod, you would want to add anything out over here? Most welcome.
Thank you, sister, for the question. The ears also have fine hair follicles there, which obstruct ingress of any dust particles, and there is fine wax that gets secreted from the lining of the ear, sister. That that finally uh, jams anything that's going inside. It accumulates all and it forms wax. So these two mechanisms prevent dust from getting inside, the waste from getting inside. And the final is the layer of membrane that is not though particularly related to the letting of things inside, but it functions to vibrate and let the ear hear items, but also is anatomically preventing things from getting inside the brain, inside of the ear. It's it functions like a barricade. So these three, the hair, the wax, and the tympanic membrane, these three are the parts of the ear that prevent ear from getting infected, I can say. Om Shanti.
Amazing, amazing body.
When you look at it, thank you, Vinod Bhai, for bringing that scientific approach and the entire anatomy of ears, the way Girisha Ben brought in the anatomy of eyes here. How beautifully uh, the nature has also created human body. And while you were sharing each bit of it, and then we connect to what Baba says, Sunte hai bhi mat suno. He is actually talking about how to listen with this divine gift of divine ear that you have gotten. That's another perspective to look at it. So, Gujaben, did you get the answer to your question?
Rakiben, there's one thing when you said एक कान से सुनो दूसरों से निकलो. Let me tell you, जब एक कान से अंदर जाता है, the mind is so mischievous. Wow, so beautiful, it's nice. It loves to retain it. So sending it to the other ear is again an effort. I used to often tell Baba, sometimes okkandras jo hota hai, it's so this, maybe, yeah, it's a body consciousness, it is something not nice, but it's very difficult to put out from the other ear. Even though we have been given by the body such things, the mind plays. So when you were saying that, I just remember I used to ask Baba that question. Baba, sometimes kandras doesn't allow it to go through the other ear.
And then what Baba says in so many murlis that come out of contrast as well. So it is just practice, practice, practice. It will allow you to be off all the senses and move ahead. Yes, Vijit Bhai.
Yeah, I was thinking, how can we check how much powerful my divine eye is? So, any thought on that? Of course, when we see people, when we are seeing their specialities, we are able to see them as a soul. That is all is there. But then, I mean, when we are on the field of action, right, especially, so how can we test this? Another thing is, I think, how am I clearly able to visualize all these, Baba, Baranda, and the three word, right? That all will come into the account. But is there any other way that we can check how one can really understand where do I stand with my divine eyesight? Yes.
One point that Baba has given in today's Murli is he says, when you see anyone else, you see them with their original sanskar and not in the form of body consciousness. So this is one of the practices when I the soul see anyone else, what am I picking up from there? Am I looking at their weaknesses or I'm picking up their specialities? That's probably is one easy way that works for me many times. And the checking there is um, something which is disturbing me when I'm interacting with someone else, then I am off the track. I'm not looking at the divine space at that moment when I'm looking at the other soul or his or her acts. When I think of his and her, I'm again coming in body consciousness. So I think catching oneself every moment, then you may have a question as to how do one catch? But that's again, it's going to be just a practice to look at it, and it's a journey for one to take on with grace. We may falter, but that's fine. Just get up and move ahead with this thought. That's one way to look at it. There could be many such ways. Maybe each one of us may have a different way to look at it and experience the presence of divine I. Others can add on. This was something which came immediately to me, and which also Baba has mentioned in today's Murli, is what I was sharing.
Can I just add one thought here, Rakibe?
Yes, yes, Girija.
Bijit Bhai, see, when your eyes are weak, when you cannot read something, or when you find water coming from your eyes, or you have a lot of pain, what we would do? We will just go to the surgeon, we'll take an appointment, and we know that process how nicely, eye to eye, that she makes us. It's a beautiful thing to see how she works. She peeps into our eyes, and how she scans through it. So what even I feel, if you see in the Murli at the end, Baba said, divine eye cannot do alone its job. It needs a divine intellect. So if you have a divine intellect, the thinking, and even Vinod Bhai said, it's the mind which works first, even before anything. So here we definitely need a divine intellect. Then only you can check through the divine intellect, your thinking process. It acts as, because without the intellect, your eyes, your ears, or anything cannot work. And that is a part of the soul. So for that, Baba says one thing, focus. Like even when Arjuna was asked to shoot, he didn't see anywhere, he just saw the pupil. Focus, man mana bhava. So if I do that focus, man mana bhava, if I really groom my intellect, then maybe I will get one control in my eye. Some kind of controller will sit in my ye nahi dekhna, ye acha nahi, Baba ko, will Baba doesn't like that way, or seeing through Baba's eyes. See, it may sound a little bit fictional or little bit scriptural, but I think that can work because that is what Baba's knowledge has given us. We need a divine intellect.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a practice basically that I understand. So every day's practice is going to make us or take us there, because the practice that we had so far, at least for the past 63 births, is to see things through the physical eyes, where we have seen only the body, look, and behavior, right? And when the soul comes into the picture, the third eye, the divine eye, there we see the soul, the virtues, and the spiritual identity of the soul. So that makes a lot of difference, because physical eye sees only the physical emotions or the things, but whereas the divine eye can give us more wisdom, to the wisdom of the soul and the natural qualities of the soul. It's again, yeah, happening at the inner level. The other one is happening at the outer level. All right, thank you. Oops.
Yeah, you very well mentioned, the divine eye actually works at the inner level, and the physical eye works at the outer layer. And that gets me to reflect on there's so many people in the world who are physically blind, but they have conquered and been successful through their inner eye, which we typically call as the vision with which they operate. And there are many such examples where we have seen people growing and making history in the world, right from musicians like Ravindra Jain to this the new icon in this world about someone who was born blind but has created a world of difference in the Indian context, who, who actually had created different laws for a blind student to study, is the first blind Indian who got his MIT engineering done, and he's come back to India to serve this country and runs an industry where he's more than 50% of his employees are differently challenged. Now, where did he get this vision from? Where does these people get this vision from? This is all inner mind play, isn't it?
Yeah. And one more thing, how, I mean, the physical eye or the divine eye, which sees first? So that is where I think we all will understand where we stand, how much we have progressed. So if you see a person at the first sight, where do you see? Is the divine eye seeing or the physical eye seeing? If the physical eye, then you are seeing it, then you see the physical part of it. If the divine eye, then you see the soul and its original quality. So that's where actually, I suppose we all can measure ourselves. Where do we stand? A check, self-checking, right?
Correct.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Would anybody else want to
Uh,
do a last? Yeah, go ahead.
yes, sister, the last puzzle that Bai put up, the what runs first, the divine eye or the physical eye? I mean, I think the the intellect runs there, and if you see that oh person is beautiful, then your body conscious part of your eye is running, and the thought behind that, the intellect behind that is running. The it only will become divine once it sees that yeah, this soul could be beautiful. Otherwise, whatever the eye sees first is the body itself. But then if you think that okay, this is like this, but then this may or may not be a beautiful soul with respect to its qualities or behavior or the thought process, that will make a change uh, from it. And you have, if you can believe that yes, this could be such a great soul, that it has gotten the gift of this body, maybe then that our eye will become a divine eye. Otherwise, it will remain just a physical eye. Shanti.
Yeah, that was a very simple practice for one to look at. And I now, as Baba said in today's Murli as well, and it was really a clear extension to the gifts that Baba is talking about, gift of divine intellect and divine eye. And that was the point that I could relate to while you were speaking, Vinod Bhai, that it's the intellect that plays to support your eye to look at an inward out approach to play with divinity all the time. Right, Vinod Bhai? Or is there anything else you would like to add on?
Yes, thank you, sister. The it is divine intellect and other eye. If the divine intellect is there, then it can become a divine eye. Otherwise, it will just remain a physical eye.
Yes.
Yeah, our intention would be to first see with the divine eye, though, because um, uh, from Satyuga onwards, that's where we see, right? I think Satyuga, our divine eye is so powerful. So we first see the soul and then the body, first sight. But here in Kali Yuga, with knowledge, I think with the practice, first body and then the soul, but it has to be the other way. Physical eye should come second, but divine eye should come first.
And to suppose the divine eye to come in, it's divine intellect that plays before the divine eye plays its
Right.
part.
Rakhi Ben, I know time is running out, but I
Mm.
think we are not saints. When you just introduce me to somebody, I will naturally see the body first. I will see the person's the color, the pallor. But what happens further? How do I go? Do I put in my mind, oh, he's got beautiful eyes, oh, he's got good color? So there is where the intellect comes. But definitely, I think we are not saints to just see souls going about in the universe. We see bodies. But after the bodies, how do I interpret it in my intellect? Does my mind say, wow, 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 looking at the body? No. So the intellect comes there and says, nay, looking at the soul. So that's a second thing. That's why Baba says, look at the eye, but see the money in that eye. So I think physical is what I would definitely see. I would appreciate beauty, but I wouldn't go in to say, wow, that thing. That's where I think the intellect pops in. That's why Baba says every morning, get up, groom your intellect, connect to me. That's what I feel. Physical comes first.
Yes. So it's going to be no, each one's each place. For example, if the physical one, you're beyond this physical one, then it'll be easy for the person to connect at soul level. But as you rightly said, as human beings, it's a journey for one to look at it. And how do you interpret what you are seeing makes a difference. And there comes the play of your intellect, the divine mind, you know. So if somebody is going to be looking at only intelligence and not intellect, then it will be very challenging to look at whether I'm at body consciousness or soul consciousness. But only when I use this knowledge and put it across as divine intelligence or divine intellect in play is where I'll be able to do or take on in practicing with my divine eye, or what Baba says is Trinetri, or third eye playing there. But you're right, Girja Ben, it's going to be okay. I see this, but how do I interpret this? Is going to be the place to stand and operate from. Uh, Correct me if this uh, is what you were putting across.
Perfect. Perfect.
All right, so I know it's an interesting conversation going on, and thank you for each one of you to share this beautiful and wonderful, powerful conversation around. And time is running away, so let's take a minute of silence and experience how my whole day would I practice and play with the divine intellect and divine eye that I have got as a gift from the Almighty. Om Shanti. Let's take every moment today with awareness in how I am using the gift given by Baba of divine intellect and divine eye. Let's take this practice for the day. Have a wonderful day filled with divinity. Om Shanti. We meet tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.